Welcome back. In this video we are going to render our links dynamically using some sort of a component that comes from React Native, and it will allow us to render a list. So if you are familiar with vanilla JavaScript or even React, probably you will have an array and you will map through that array and you will render some JSX or some HTML or whatever. But it's a bit different in React Native. In React Native, we have this component called flat list, and it has a lot of features. Basically, I don't want to open the documentation and start talking. I want to show you in a small video how to use a flat list. So let's go ahead and use that. Basically, in order for you to use in order for you to work with the flat list component, what do you want to do? First of all, you need three things, okay, and I will list them right here. Okay, so what do you want to do? First, you need your data, okay, which most of the time it will be an array of objects. You need to keep that one in mind. Okay, the second thing that you need to do is a JSX component. Okay, a JSX component that will render each object in our array. Okay, and the last thing that you need is a key, a unique identifier for each item. Okay, a unique identifier for each object in our array. This is really important. Now, if you take a look on our user link right here, if you take a look on the user link array that we have created in the previous video, we have an array of objects, which this is the first requirement. The second one is a JSX component to render each object, which is our user link. Okay, we are gonna take the name and the text and render them. So our second requirement is here as well. A unique key identifier. Basically, I'm talking about any property inside your object. It needs to be unique for all the objects. Okay, so if you have two objects with the same key, it will not work. It will give you a warning or an error. Okay, that doesn't matter, but it will not work. Okay, you need to have a key that is unique. Now, in this very simple example, we can use the icon name, okay, because they are unique. But in a real world situation, you probably use some sort of an ID, or you can use any library, for example, UUID, or a lot of packages that will give you a unique identifier, or you can use vanilla JavaScript using, I believe, the date. There's a solution about date. You can use date to create random IDs, but as a general idea, you need a unique identifier. Let's go ahead and delete or keep them. Now I will delete them in a second, but here, instead of rendering, let me give it a save. Yeah, instead of rendering each user link by its own, I'm gonna delete it. Okay, or we can keep one of them. I will delete this one, and what I will do, I will type flat list. Okay, and here is the flat list component. Make sure when you type enter and close the component like this, it's a self-closing tag or component. Make sure that React Native, it will import it from the React Native package here up top. Okay, you can see it has been imported. Let's go ahead and use these three properties that we have talked about. So first, the data that we need to specify, it will expect from us a data attribute or a property or a props, and we need to set it to our array that we have created right here. So I will import my user links, import something from the utility folder. To my user link, I will import my user links. Okay, so this is my data. Basically, if you are wondering where we will get this in a real world situation, you will get it from a backend API or whatever. At the end of the day, you are going to make an API request to get an array. That's the important part. In our case, we don't have an API, so we are going to get it and create it ourselves. Nice. So the data, I will pass it over here. User links. Nice. The second thing now we need to do a JSX component to render each item. I will just reorder them just to make them simple, because the last one is the most complicated one. So let's fix the key one. The key, basically we need to give it a key extractor. Okay, basically we need to tell it that, hey, you will go ahead and find a unique key for each object in our array. And basically this key extractor, if you take a look on the documentation here, where is it? This component, this is an example. Basically you can see the way that it works. It has an item. Okay, it will expect from us, I give it a function. Okay, and this function will receive a parameter, which is the item, and this item presents an object from each, like any object in our array. Make sense? So the key extractor here, it will go ahead and it's expecting from us a function, and it will receive a parameter. You can call it whatever you want, and this parameter, it is the object inside our array. It's each object inside our array. Okay, so basically we can call it item, we can call it course, we can call it link. Okay, and we can say link dot, you can see these the properties inside our object. Basically we have a text and an icon. Okay, so we will say icon because the icon now is a unique. This is all of it. Okay, the key extractor is very simple. Now for the item, the JSX component that we want to render, basically we can say render item. Okay, and this one is a little bit complicated. Okay, let me take a look. Let's take a look on the documentation. The render item right here, they have passed and a render item function that they have created here. Now the render item here, you can see it will receive a props or attribute. Okay, it's an object, and they have destructured the item. Now I don't want to explain it like this. I will go ahead. First of all, it's a function. Okay, and let's say props. What I will do, I will go ahead and log this props. So let's see what we are receiving. Okay, and I will give it a save. Okay, and I want you to take a look right here on the on the console log. Basically what we have here, this, by the way, this thing right here, the render item will get called for each item in our the function right here will get called for each item in our array. That's why we are seeing a lot of console log right here. What I want you to take a look here, this object basically presents our props. We can see the index of the item. We can see the item itself, which is basically presents the object inside our array. Okay, so that's why what we can say props dot item to get the actual item. I will clear my by the way, I do have the auto save, so that's why it will reflect immediately, but let's do it again. Item. Okay, props.item. I want to get the exact item, the exact object itself. I will give it a save and take a look. We can see we have these objects. We have the first one, and all of these, they have been presented. Okay, so what I don't want to go ahead and return a console.log. Instead, I will go ahead and return our user link component. I will render it like so, and instead of passing these hard-coded values, I already have access to them, so I will remove that text and say props.item.text, and the same thing right here. I will say props.item. Where is the icon? Yeah, icon like so. If I give it a save like so, let's see what we are going to get in the application. We can see all these icons were rendered successfully. Now, of course, if you are it's not a good idea, or it's not a good idea of keeping props dot. Then we can very simply destructure the item immediately here and remove the props. But these things doesn't even matter. Okay, we still have a section about refactoring and code reusability and so on. But this is the main idea. Basically, the render item function or the render item props, it's expecting a function, and this function will get called for each object, and it gives you access to the content of each object so you can render it. And basically I'm returning a JSX component for each item. If this thing doesn't make sense, don't worry, we have a lot of applications where we will be using list, so I will explain it like a lot of times. Okay, so we are gonna get used to that. But basically any flat list component expecting the 3 required, the minimum, by the way, the minimum is a 3 data, which is an array of objects, key extractor, a unique identifier for each object in our array, render item, it's expecting from you a JSX component to render it, and also it gives you an access to the object that you want to render. That's basically it. Now, if you want to fix the styles, very easily, very simple. Here we have our user link component. We have the parent right here. I will give it, first of all, justify content to be center. Okay. And another thing we can do, we can give it a margin for now. Okay. I will give it a margin bottom right now. But again, I do have we do have another section about code reusability and how to pass even a dynamic styles. For the time being, let's just fix it. Okay. We need to sorry, my mistake. We have to give it either like the values. Okay, by the way, the BT is also like a valid number right here. We can see it's passed over here, but what we can do, we can just pass it like so without any, because I have made a mistake with like using normal CSS or styles in JSS or whatever, align CSS. Anyways, so you can see how you can pass a margin. Of course, this is not what I want. We need more values. Okay, now of course we have to push the username away from our list. There are a lot of ways that you can do that, but the easiest way is that we can give it a styles, okay, to our flat list and push it, give it margin top, or we already have a style for our username right here. Where is the username? This one. So I will say margin bottom to be like 40 maybe. We can see the list has been pushed away. Now the main idea, I'm talking about how to render dynamic values, okay, right here. So by the way, no matter how many items I add here, okay, it will get rendered automatically. By the way, this is the warning that I was talking about. Okay, you can see the same key. Okay, 2 children with the same key, basically because we have these icons. You have a LinkedIn icon here and here. They have the same key, so that's why we got our warning. I don't care like too much about the warning, but I just want to show you how to render list. So let's copy all of these. No matter how many items I have, I will still have like this link right here. By the way, it's auto scrollable, so very nice thing. Okay, so again, this is the basic idea of flat list. We will create more and more flat list as we go. As a matter of fact, the next section where we are going to build these levels, we are going to also use the same strategy, the same technique. First, we are going to prepare our data. Second, we are going to build one item, one component, so we can repeat it for all these components. Then we are going to implement our flat list. As simple as that. So I hope I made it clear for you. Thank you, my friends, so much for watching. If you have any question, please let me know. I will see you in the next one.